Welcome back to the Limitless Stories podcast. I'm super excited for today's guest. This is someone who truly embodies the idea of living a multifaceted life, balancing creativity, education, and cultural identity in a way that's nothing short of inspiring. His name is Yasir Murad, and most people know him as DJ Yaz. I know him as DJ Yaz, but pleasure to know his government too. He's a DJ with over 10 years of experience spinning tracks and creating vibes that bring people together, man. And that's not all about Yaz. Yaz also has a law degree and is currently finishing his master's in psychology, which allows him to bring a very unique perspective as someone of Middle Eastern ethnicity, but was raised in England and now calls Vancouver home. So without further ado, whether it's through music, psychology, or just his own journey navigating identity and culture, this has a lot to share. And today, we're excited. So whether you're here for the beats or just a great conversation, you're in the right place. So please help me welcome DJ Yaz. Yaz, how you doing, my man?
What's good? What's good? I'm good, man. I'm chilling. I'm good. Feeling nice, feeling positive, feeling good. Yeah.
How you feeling? How you feeling about that intro?
That's amazing. I was like, wow, what a synopsis. What a synopsis. Oh, wow. I was just like looking at the past and I'm like, okay, that is me. Yeah, it's
All
me.
right, all right, all right. That kind of resonates with
Yeah,
me.
that
I
resonates.
like
I'm like,
that.
cool, you know what I mean? Yeah, I like it. Nah, good job.
Yeah. So yeah, let's get right into it, bro. From that intro, you kind of mentioned that you've been a DJ for just over 10 years. What first drew you to music, and how did you get started in the DJing scene as a facet of music?
To be honest with you, I always had a passion in music, but I never really knew what I wanted to do with it. Coming from a Middle Eastern background, education was first always. So I went to law school first when I finished high school at 17.
Hmm.
And, I was studying, I was trying to study, but I was very young, so it wasn't.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
was just more party lifestyle. I had moved back to England right before I was turning 18, so I had not experienced any of that proper adult life.
Right. Wait. Where did you take your law school? What school did you go to?
In Brighton, University of Sussex.
Oh, University of Sussex.
Yeah. So, because I had a brief like 4 or 5 years living in Canada and Prince George for like my high school years, and then I went back to
Okay,
England. Like I went back to England on my own when I finished high school.
I see.
Yeah, and then basically like I went through a couple years, and then kind of I met someone who was still close to me now. My closest friend in England. Shout out to Alvin Jacob. We got along quite well. He was actually he's a dancer originally, right? He one of them
Nice,
hip hop dancers.
nice.
He's on his artistic side, but we just got
Hmm.
along on a level of like oh, boys. Sometimes like when you meet people, like you just click. You get me? Like we met,
Yeah.
we click. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you just click with people
Right.
properly,
Right.
and then we got close, and then basically we started. We had this idea. So funny. We had this idea to throw just like a university party.
Hmm.
And then like a week before the party, like we met this guy who had these like broken decks, these broken DJ decks, kind of. They still
Mm.
work, but they're not like the best. We paid like
Right.
$40 for them as a joke. And as a joke,
Hmm.
we thought we'd like try and learn whatever we can in a week. Not using the right program, not using whatever, like but we knew a lot of people.
No background. No
No
musical
background.
background.
No background.
Okay.
But we knew a lot of people because like as a student a lot of the clubs try and get students to promote for the clubs. So we were promoters, right? So that was our little like side hustle thing. So we had already known quite a lot of people. So what we did was like we threw a party and it ended up being 400 or 500 people showed up. Like it was insane. Like to try to shut it down, like it was a house party.
Yeah.
Because we lived in a small town in England, like on the outskirts of London, we were in Brighton, the clubs kind of heard about what was going on. Then they
Hmm.
kind of reached out to us, right?
Right.
And then it's so funny. They wanted us to do a club night. And keep in mind, like, this was not serious. Like, so they wanted us to do a club night. We bought our little crappy DJ decks. We're using virtual DJ, not even the right program. We're in the
Yeah.
club, like 150 people, right? And they wanted us to do that. And that was literally my first exposure to DJing. I literally never knew that it would lead to what it is now. it was kind of one of those things where it came to me rather than me going to it, which is quite interesting. And then, yeah, like, I finished university.
Quick question before you go on. Was it the music or was it the energy of the people that drew you to that
I'm not gonna lie to
lifestyle?
you. A part of it was like, as young men, like, the popularity is quite nice. You know what I mean? We enjoyed
Right,
that, right? Like, it got
right.
us a lot of attention. Our parties are still talked about till this day about in that university, which is insane.
Got you.
So,
Got you.
a part of it was that, but then another part of it was like we actually enjoyed like mixing music, and that was also like my first exposure to Afrobeats because my best friend, he's half Nigerian. So he kind
Mm-hmm.
of showed me the culture. I'm not gonna lie, like he showed me everything that like what you see now, what you see in the sense of how I play it, even within that genre. We've seen it personally, yeah, firsthand.
Yeah.
That stuff all originates from that time in university, and that's when I kind of developed that
Mm,
passion, right?
right.
And then yeah, so then basically, as we kind of grew, we finished degree. When I finished my law degree, I it just didn't resonate with me. Like I barely passed the degree. Just the moral values of what it was just wasn't a part of my personality. To be a lawyer, you have to be quite rigid, and you have to be quite, in a sense, a little bit heartless. You know what I mean? Like you can't really
Right.
have emotional attachment to things because you have to be
It's the
ruthless.
that's the total
Totally
opposite
compete.
of being a DJ.
I'm saying,
Like
you know what I'm
total
saying?
completely opposite. Yeah.
Yeah. And a part of it was like to make my parents proud. You know what it is? Like coming from a cultural population, like you got to do something, especially as the oldest son. It's like, medicine, law, engineering. You already know what it is. You know what I mean?
Shout out to your firstborn sons.
First one, we got pressure on us. So yeah, no. After I finished that, wanted to take a break from school. I wanted to pursue like the music stuff. I carried on. Like I wanted to carry on. So I continued. Like I started as a promoter properly, and then just worked my way up. Ended up in Spain for a season, which was interesting, like 7 months. And then just kind of kept building my profile while I was over there, and then moved to Vancouver about 5-6 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Culture shock to say the least, to be honest with you,
Yeah. Yeah.
especially with regards to the people. It's just very different,
Yeah.
which we can get into. Um, yeah, and then now, like about 2 years ago, I'm 29 now, so I turned 30 this
Mm-hmm.
year. About two
Yeah.
years ago, after DJing for about 8 years, I kind of got to this crossroads where I was starting to look to stuff in the future, in terms of where do I want to see myself in like 10 years from now. You know what I mean? Like as
Right.
you approach that 30-year-old mark, it's like, okay, well, do I want to be a DJ forever? What if the music stuff doesn't blow up in realness? So I obviously it's my main source of income now, but in realness, what if the music doesn't like, go to the heights that I want it to go
You
to?
plan it to
What's my
scale to.
backup?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So I actually discovered this master's of psychology course, as one of my relatives was actually doing it, and I was
Mm-hmm.
like, oh, you know what? Like psychology, like finding about like how one's mind works and how they develop anxiety and how they develop depression and how we can help these things. And especially post COVID, it's such a common thing. It's an industry that can't be replaced by AI. You have to have human connection. You have to have empathy. It's all based on empathy. And
Right.
growing up, I was always very close to my mom. So I've always been empathetic. Like that's just something that I'm very warm and I'm very
Mm-hmm.
approachable when it comes to people.
Right.
Especially being in an industry like psychology is definitely female dominated. So I'm a
Right.
part of the minority in the whole
In the
process
whole class in a
because
program and
because
yeah.
because a lot of the time, good therapists tend to be female because they're so empathetic. They have that motherly instinct. It's a natural thing that they
Right.
have. Whereas
Right.
as a male, it might be a little bit more difficult. But if you were raised in a way where, for me, I was very close to my mom, I have that warmth. I feel like I have that empathy. So it comes very naturally to me to be able to help people. So
Nice.
to segue into that world, I started doing that course, and
Sooner. Yeah. Before we even get into the psychology, because I feel like that's such a huge part of your day to day now.
Mhm.
And it really I can feel in the passion that you're talking about it versus the passion that you brought about law, and it's totally different
Two different things,
energies.
yeah.
But we're gonna tap into a little bit of psychology, which there's elements of mindfulness in psyche.
Of course,
How
yeah.
we tap into the brain, and you mentioned a little bit of anxiety. So I feel like as a DJ in practice for the past 10 or so years, you're constantly like reading the room, and you're trying to create a vibe, create an atmosphere that people tap into.
Hmm.
How do you stay present like during your sets, especially like in that environment, because it's really high energy? How do you can?
It's very interesting. It's a very good question. In terms of locking in when doing music, now that I have been, moved into that psychology stuff in the daytime, I've realized that music was a form of therapy for me, right? So the way in which I lock in, it doesn't matter whether it's 3 people or 300 people. I get my energy from people. And I've realized that over time. So as I get
Mm,
my energy from people, if I see people having a good time or feeling happy, it gives me happiness. So in the same way, in translating to the therapy stuff, when I see someone who comes in anxiety, depression, or trauma, and then they start to transition into going back into that positive outlook, that makes me
mm-hmm,
happy. That's what gives me gratification.
mm-hmm,
So for me, the way I stay locked in is the fact that no matter what, it doesn't matter whether the room is busy, the room is empty. I'm there to do a job. I'm there to pursue my passion. I'm there because, you know, I know that I'm lucky enough to be in a position where music is paying my bills. So I know that that's why I need to lock in. There's many jobs that people do which are much harder than that, and
right.
they struggle in everyday life. So for me to be lucky enough to go and play music for people and see them have joy just in those kinds of moments, that's what allows me to carry on locking in to the room. It's
A sense
so
of gratitude, a
a
sense
sense
of
of
gratitude
gratitude
in a
for real.
sense,
Yeah, for real.
right?
And
Like
it's yeah.
a lot of people don't have the same opportunity as you,
Hmm.
and you get to do that for a living, as you said.
Hmm.
And I think you are gonna go on, but before we say you carry on, I was gonna ask you what happens when the energy is not there with the people. Does that affect your production or your locking in, or how do you shift from that challenge?
It's a good
Like you're in a
question.
room, you got 3 people or you got 300, but the
Hmm.
vibes are not vibing. I know
Hmm.
I've been a part of the crowd of yours, so I haven't always vibing. But I'm talking about I'm pretty sure there's environments where you've put yourself in and it's been a challenge to get that energy going.
Hmm.
How do you in turn galvanize yourself to keep going in that in a similar environment?
Well, sometimes it's about everything to do with DJing and playing music. It's about reading the room. So in terms of me, like adaptability is so key. I don't like to say I'm a certain genre type of DJ anymore. I've learned
Mm,
that it's better to be an open format type of DJ and understand different premises of music in
right.
order to satisfy a crowd that is present. So if I see a room that's not vibing the way I want it to, I'll switch it up. Honestly, I cycle a lot in a lot of my gigs. I'm solo, so I cycle. I'm used to cycling through different genres throughout the night.
Mm,
So then everyone's happy, right? So
mm-hmm.
if I'm in a room and I'm playing a certain type of music, crowd's not vibing, maybe change it over to something like, more commercial or housey or whatever it may be. You can kind of see the change in emotion when you're playing something towards the demographic that is in front of you, right?
Right.
So a lot of that is just about adaptability and experience. And through those experiences over the last 10 years, I can understand when a room doesn't vibe with the same music that I'm playing. So then that's, as a DJ, you're supposed to be able to read that and change it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And trying different, sometimes if the room is quiet and there's nothing you can do about it, I love to try the new things, try things that I don't usually try. So then it's good practice to understand, like, oh, you know what, these two go together. I should try this when the room is actually vibey. So sometimes,
Right.
yeah, sometimes being more experimental definitely keeps my brain like locked and loaded and ready to go and move forward no matter what is going on around me, right?
Yeah, that's really dope, bro. That's actually like awareness, like just
Hmm.
being around, staying flexible, staying
Hmm.
adaptable, and being aware of your environment, and also being comfortable being uncomfortable,
Hmm.
trying those new things in the moment, right?
Yeah, and
And
seeking discomfort, exactly that. seeking
Mm-hmm.
discomfort is one of the most important things you should be able to do in order to move forward. And I always seek discomfort. Even if it's something
Mm-hmm.
that I like outside of my box, I will try it, right?
Right.
I found that a lot of my outcomes change when I do that and when I've started doing that. And it's important. And when you mention awareness and self-awareness, again, awareness and self-awareness of everything around you and your environment is the same thing that you need when you're a therapist, self-awareness. So
Mm-hmm.
like so when you're in psychology, it's based on three things: empathy, congruence, and self-awareness. Those are the three main things, right? In the same sense, but some of those aspects still apply to the music side of things, and it's fascinating because both things require you to use the left side of your brain. Psychology is an art. I don't see it as a science, it's an art.
Right.
Especially
Right.
the type that I'm doing, the like I'm as a psychotherapist, you don't use any scientific stuff. It's all mental, right?
Mm.
So in the same
Mm-hmm.
way, they kind of what I do in the weirdest way, they both intertwine, right?
They
DJing
intersect. They
always
intersect together.
intersects.
All
Always.
right, that's amazing. That's amazing because in terms of like you mentioned something about like all you do is on the mental side of things, and I think in general we have to curate like a mental health awareness. That's your background as well. As someone who's studying psychology, how do you think the music and entertainment industry can, better support mental health both for like artists and audiences as well?
Yeah, I mean, it's the entertainment industry, there's a lot of, individuals that do like suffer from mental health issues just because of the hours and the amount of grind and being surrounded by the liquor and a lot of these things are components in what's needed in future life. A lot of the clients that come in, they could have experienced all that stuff before and it affects them later on, right?
Right.
So I feel as though it's very important, even for people in the entertainment industry, no matter how stubborn they are, that like sometimes like seeking help, there's nothing wrong with it, right? Like some of the gigs I've had, the DJ booth turns into like the therapy corner. So it's like,
Mm.
they'll come
Mm.
chat, especially people I know. Sometimes they just like to open up and just, talk and be vulnerable. And you really do see it. It's more present than people think it is.
Mm-hmm.
You know, people think that the night industry, especially as a DJ, oh, it's so easy, like pressing buttons. It's like from the outside looking in, right? The hours are long. There's a lot of stress. You have to deal with people you might not like at times because it's everyone's under the influence.
That was kind of like what I was thinking. It's like how do you balance being a DJ therapist, quote unquote, as you said, in the moment when somebody's how do you balance that? Like, is this person intoxicated or are they actually just opening up? Because first of all, it's
Oh, you
typically
can
in the
tell.
wee hours of the night. That's when people are super vulnerable. 1 a.m. You know what I'm saying?
I don't open that therapist side unless it's someone I actually know. Otherwise, it's
Okay,
like,
okay. That makes more
yeah,
sense.
yeah, yeah,
Like
yeah.
distinction of like, okay, you're just somebody who's out here and you're somebody I know. That
Yeah,
makes
yeah,
sense.
yeah. And it's like, when it's busy, I'm usually just locked into my laptop. I can't really sort like I don't see anything else apart from the crowd and my laptop.
Mm-hmm.
And when it is locked in, I have a friend or two who will stand in between the DJ booth and people trying to interact with me so then they can handle the interactions because I'd rather just focus and then they'll tell me because I'm not, you know?
Right.
Sometimes it can honestly there has been times there's always going to be times where it gets a little bit too much and in those moments it's just about staying calm and being able to lean into still being genuine but at the same time taking control and being stern when you have to be
Right.
because as a DJ people like to sometimes try push around this that whatever but sometimes you got to just kind of put them in their face a little bit.
Right. You gotta stand your ground and
You
have
got to
your own
stand ground.
boundaries.
Oh yeah.
You gotta have your own boundaries.
Oh yeah.
And to kind of like cap off the mindfulness segment, like, some creatives struggle with overthinking and self-doubt, right?
Hmm.
And I'm curious to know in your journey, how have you overcome self-doubt from like a starter's perspective to a point where you value your work and you know your worth,
Hmm.
like the level of craft and skill that you bring to the industry. How are you mindful enough to understand like, okay, I know I'm not at maybe the level that I wish to be in 5 years time, but at the level that I am in over 10 years is here, and this is what I bring to the table.
Hmm.
How do you kind of deal with that?
For me, like a positive mindset is everything, especially coming to a new environment, especially a city like Vancouver.
Right.
I don't think I've ever been in a city where it's not as social. People aren't as social as
Let
in
it
other
out. Let it
cities.
out. Let it
They're
out.
not.
This
They're
is
not
the space.
not as
Let it
social,
out.
right? So I feel as though it took a lot of time for me to build the right connections in order to get to the position that I'm in. It also took a lot of getting kicked down and then finding a way to get back up. And I had to learn the concept of letting go when something isn't going well. So sometimes when things aren't going well within this industry, you have to let go for something new to come in. And I really, really struggled with that when I first had these issues. I really struggled with that. I would ask myself, why is this happening? What did I do wrong? Why, I feel like I'm giving my 110%, but I'm still not getting anything back. All of this kind of stuff. Why, right? It turned more. Yeah, go
Was the
on.
struggle more of the opportunity or the people?
It's more related. It's definitely more related to the way in which people perceive you, especially when you are different.
Uh-huh.
People don't want change.
Double click on that. Different. What do you mean by different?
As in when you are someone who comes from a different place, who
Mm-hmm.
has a different mindset, who has different ideas, and you're
Right.
coming here to change in the way in which the culture is,
Right.
it
Right.
bothers a lot of people because they don't want change. That's what they're
Change is
used to.
uncomfortable.
Their
Yeah.
change is uncomfortable for them.
Right.
So because of that, their defense mechanism ends up being, okay, let me just be hostile. I don't want to bring in this person. I don't want to talk to this person. I want to treat this person like whatever, right? And because of that mindset, yeah, I always say this, because of that mindset, these are the type of people who will always stay in one city. Because in the real world, outside of whatever this bubble is here, in the real world, everyone collaborates. It's insane. And that's what works. That's what
Right.
works.
Right.
Everyone
That's
collaborates.
yeah, that's
When people meet me, yeah, the smart people who meet me, they understand that, wait a second, Yaz is from England, Yaz is from Europe. Okay, you know what? He probably has connections in Europe and in England. Oh, do I want to expand and be able to go here and here and here? Maybe I should be connecting, helping. You help each other, right?
right.
Instead, it's more like, okay, I need to just get clouted in Vancouver. Getting clouted in Vancouver isn't going to get you nowhere in life. There's a reason that there's a reason there's no one in this city who
Mm-hmm.
has put the city on the map.
Mm.
Because the stubbornness of wanting to be relevant within the city rather than looking at the bigger picture is so
Right.
prevalent here. It's insane, right?
Man, that's deep, bro. Like you're really dissecting the culture of a city from a professional standpoint and how it goes everywhere, like even in social dynamics, friendships, you name it. A lot of cliques that just want to get clout in the city,
Hmm.
but beyond that is like uh, I'm like sometimes when you reach out to like somebody random on Instagram, as you said, like, oh shit, I see this guy's really into physical, mental, mindful, relationships.
Hmm.
Hey, I'm trying to build a community of people with this podcast, and hopefully in the future curate events that bring people together. Would you
Hmm.
mind coming through? Man, you get left on red.
All the time, all the time, all the time, all the time. People don't like change. It just falls under that umbrella. People don't like change. And now that I have this mindset now where I was always good at reading people in the first place, but now the fact that I can like just kind of like psychoanalyze, just naturally psychoanalyze the way people think here, it's
Mm-hmm.
insane what like your mind does. You see the way in which they think, and it's so closed off. It's like tunnel
Mm-hmm.
vision. Like they don't look at the bigger picture. Everything is seen in
Mm,
a little scope. They don't want to change anything. They don't want to change the culture. They don't want to, you know what I'm saying? They don't want to interact. They don't want to work together. Right?
mm,
So even with, for example, I started the company 222 Party about almost
mm-hmm.
2 years ago now with my
Right.
business partner Mandy, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And The objective of that was to bring people together,
Right.
right? And even with the way in which I picked the DJ lineups,
Mm.
pull someone from this collective, pull someone from this collective, pull someone from this collective, make
Right.
them work together, because no one does that. So
Mm-hmm.
even if it's, we go back to seeking discomfort, it goes all the way around. It goes back to seeking
Right.
discomfort. You bring these
Right.
people, you put them in together, so they have to work together, because the only way it works is if you work together. Because think about it logically. You bring someone from one collective, one collective, one collective. They all have different crowds. So they're all going to bring their own
Mm-hmm.
crowds and everyone's going to mix together. That's how it should be. That's what the 222 party stands on, right? That's what the
Mm-hmm.
whole company stands on. And the reason I even wanted to carry on pushing that is because of that cliquey nature in the city.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone asks me, like, what's the objective of that? Or like, what's the objective of 222 party? I always say it's 3 words or 4 words: to change the culture. Just
To
change the
change the
culture.
culture.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Switch up this whole attitude of, yeah, like I want to be on top, this, that, and then all this beefing and behind the scenes. Like, it's just stupid. I find it the most stupid thing. You know what I
It's
mean?
childish,
It's
bro.
so childish.
We're gonna get into a lot of the relationship building aspect of things,
Yeah.
but like just to touch base on the 222, what drawbacks did you see when you were trying to implement this vision? Like what drawbacks came as a result of trying to implement this vision to
Well,
reality?
it went one of two directions. 222 got a lot of traction last summer, and the true people, the right people, the nice people, they came up, they showed love, they showed recognition. It didn't come without its challenges, because, when you come up with certain ideas in this city and it's a good idea, everyone will try and rinse it till no one does it anymore. And that
Mm.
that was a constant thing that was prevalent in doing these types of events. So I actually took a break from throwing them since last summer, but I'm not gonna say no dates, but we are launching again right before summer starts.
Stay tuned. Stay
Stay
tuned.
stay tuned.
Yes,
There's
sir.
some very, very big announcements that I've been working on just behind the scenes, but it's just, a lot of it is competition. Some people will see that you're throwing an event on a day and you announce. So just out of spite, they'll try and throw an event the same day, rather than being like, you know what I mean? Do you get what I'm saying? Like, do you get?
Bro, the calendar of the year is so big. Like we got 52 weeks out
I
of this
know, I
motherfucker.
know,
Why you
I know,
gotta do the same thing on August 8th if
I
I got
know.
playing August
I
8th, bro?
try and throw, I try and throw on off dates. I always try and throw on
Mm.
off dates. I don't do long weekend. I don't do none of that stuff, because it's all competition, everything. So everyone's just gonna be split up. So it's gonna be a bunch of decent parties.
I was having a conversation with someone about this. This city is not big enough and it does not have the
No,
population
you have to be the only thing going on.
to have a multitude of events. Like, yes, we are creatures of habit and we love options, but at the same time, it's all an illusion because we ain't got the numbers.
100%.
Like, you just gotta stay true to yourself. But I'm gonna switch it up a little bit because I know you're a big soccer guy,
Talk
and
to me.
you know, tell me about Manchester United. Y'all suck, by the way,
God.
but
All right. Why we gotta get into depression? I'm gonna
no,
have to.
no. I just want to make sure that you're incorporating fitness and your mental health together. So I know that
I use that form as motivation to go do my fitness and mental level.
that's what I'm talking about. I understand, like, being a DJ, it's late nights, lack of sleep, and I don't know if you have lack of sleep, but I'm assuming there's a lot of challenges with your sleep schedule sometimes when you're like
100%.
working OT. How do you end up balancing like the sleep aspect of rest and also incorporating time in your day to be physically active?
So you know what? I used to have. I'm quite a workaholic. I've always been that way. I'm very self-critical in that sense, and I like to work. I like to keep busy.
Right.
But one thing I did notice about being in the night industry, I did have vices that just weren't good for me. For example, I quit nicotine a couple months ago now.
Yes, sir.
The
Love to
vaping
see it.
stuff. Yeah, I was vaping quite a bit, and it was not good for me. But then what I did was I changed the vice to a good vice.
Right.
So I used to be really into my fitness a couple years back, like very consistent. But
Mm-hmm.
when you start working the night industry, sometimes the schedule and all that stuff puts you off, and you have a lack of motivation. So
Mm.
instead, now, as the new year came in and all that stuff, I was like, you know what? Let's try going gym. Anytime I get stressed, that will be my vice.
Hit the gym.
Yeah, replace the vice with this vice, right?
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, by God's will, I did have withdrawal symptoms the first week or so. It was horrible. But after
Mm.
that, and after just keeping my mental strong and, you know, getting my physical stuff back up, just completely now, just more on health side of things. And it's changed my life completely. But that vice, for example, even the vaping vice is developed from being in the night industry, because being in the night industry is stressful. When you don't have anywhere to alleviate your stress, you're going to turn to things like a little vape while you DJ, or alcohol, and you know what I'm saying? So now it's
Different
just
coping mechanisms,
a
yeah.
different coping mechanism. Like, okay, drinking, you know, moderation, okay, that's fine. It doesn't
Yeah.
affect your lungs. But the vaping stuff, man, it was. I would go play soccer 7-on-7. 5 minutes
I was
done.
just about to say,
5
how
minutes
do you
done.
play soccer with that?
5 minutes done. Man can run the whole 90 minutes, no problem. You know what I mean? Like now I
Jude
can run.
Bellingham, innit?
Jude Bellingham can get me like. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm able now to go to a soccer session at nighttime, and then in the daytime I would have done my gym stuff, or I'm able to go to a morning fitness workout and then go to the gym and do my weights as well. Like, and then
Mm.
you know I still have time to incline walk at the end of my workout to carry on like that kind of physical aspect. And on top of that, the other thing I've been really doing that's helped is cooking. I cook all the time. That's all I ever do.
Nice.
So I changed a lot of these habits, and it's very interesting because it kind of came in conjunction when I started my practicum in the therapy clinic. I started working at a
Mm.
therapy clinic, and I'm just like, you know what? Like, I can't be in the mindset of all this negative stuff and then help people get into a positive mindset. It doesn't work like that. In order to help people get a positive mindset, I need to have a positive mindset. I need to have a positive outlook. That was my motivation.
That part.
That part, right? So it's just
That part.
like that's what I needed to do. I needed to change certain things in my lifestyle in order to help people advance in theirs, right?
I'll kind of piggyback what you just said, because I think a lot of us fail to understand the importance of building self-esteem and self-confidence. There is no way I am showing up to something that I do and I think I do it well in the form of advice or service when I'm not practicing the things that I'm preaching. It's virtually impossible to be a better
Exactly.
version of that, of whatever profession it is that you're doing. You essentially kind of have to live what you practice. Like if
Exactly.
you have certain boundaries about, like, okay, I believe that you should have a healthy body,
Hmm.
your lifestyle has to reflect the fact
I
that your
know.
belief is
Exactly.
you have a healthy body. And
Exactly.
I'm pretty sure like it's also carried over to like the DJing side. Like despite the fact that this is something you're doing predominantly because of the psychology aspect of things, I don't know, but correct me if I'm wrong. I'm assuming your energy levels, your alertness, your ability to
Much better.
DJ for longer sets, you know what I'm saying? Like these things, they intersect.
It's little things. It's like you feel it. Like you feel it in the morning. I take God knows how many supplements now every day, like fish oils, vitamin C, even creatine, HMB and D3, like all kinds of things just for my day to be able to feel like good, ready, fit, you know what I mean? And
Mm-hmm.
just through, I swear, starting that practicum at the therapy clinic, it was really a blessing for me, because it really opened up my eyes when I started to see clients and the way in which like they are, how I have to influence them to think in a more positive way. It motivated me to be able to be that role model and be able to be the person who can lead. If I want to lead, I need to be in that mindset of a leader. And to be a leader, you need to have these positive motivations in your life in order to advance, right? Even for me to get a sense of purpose within that realm, the psychology realm, I need to be at my best in terms of my body and my mind, right? So even
Mm-hmm.
with all the stuff that happens within the industry, the stressful and all the BS that happens in that side, because I've been able to channel my energy, my negative energy into the fitness stuff and the mental stuff, it's helped me a lot in letting go of things.
Right.
One thing I follow now, and I never even used to be an energy type of person. That wasn't me. Like, but now I follow something like, putting positive energy out there. Having that type of positive energy gets you positive outcomes. So positive energy, positive outcomes. You get what I'm saying?
Right. Right.
I really, really believe in that. It's insane, because since I changed that mindset, the way in which things come to you so effortlessly,
Mm-hmm.
without you having to try so hard to get them, is
Mm-hmm.
night and day.
Right.
So yeah, it's just I've had to adapt my mindset a lot, especially over the last probably last 2 years since I started my course in my thinking and how I interact with people, and you know what I'm saying,
Right,
everything. My whole life just
right.
changed just doing that psychology side, but for the better, for sure.
For the better, yeah. And everything has its polar opposites. So as you positive, what did you say? Positive?
But positive energy, positive outcomes.
Positive energy, positive outcome is the same thing as garbage in, garbage out. You put
Hmm.
in garbage, you go spew out garbage.
Hmm.
If you inject or digest things that are not good for your body will let you know by what it excretes, right?
Hmm.
So I think that's a very good. We all have turning points, and I'm glad that you found your turning point with an intersection between something that you are passionate about and also something that you're generally interested in. So in terms of like music and movement, I understand, music makes us move. I hear music, I want to dance. And I think you understand the power of music to get people moving. How do you think like music and fitness intersect? Like do you use music to motivate your workouts like on a day to
100%.
day? Do you have like a set playlist, like a
I'm not.
workout playlist?
I ain't gonna lie to you. It's so funny. My workout music is not even like how to explain this. Like it's not even hype music. Like I've just had, I've had the new Drake Party Next Door album on repeat the whole time, just lifting weights. You know what I'm saying? Spider Man,
Yeah.
Superman. You get me? Like
She
I don't.
she 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 trying to be safe, but I'm not
I know.
Spider-Man nor Superman.
I'm trying. That's what I'm saying. All I ever do is listen. I actually bought some AirPod Maxes and just I have these big headphones now and just put them on my ear. I just don't. I zone out and just
You
But
just
like
locked in.
I don't mind. I can work out to music that like doesn't have to necessarily just be like because I'm so used to that. It's that punchy stuff. Like I'm used to that in the clubs and all the hype music. So when I'm
Right,
on my own, when
right.
I'm driving, when I'm working, I like chilled out. You know what I'm saying? Drake with the melodies.
You're
You get me?
you're
Like
more on the melody side.
melodies, R&B,
Makes
like chill
sense.
music. Like that's just what gets me zen in it. Like I don't need the hype music to have a good workout. You get me?
That actually is very interesting because it's like you would assume since you have a lot of access to like the hype music, that would be your go-to. But the fact that you're always constantly exposed to this environment, gym is like your therapeutic side where
Yeah,
it's like
yeah,
I'm here to really just tap into myself. And
yeah, yeah.
what better way than just mellow yourself
You know what I'm
in with
saying?
some
Like
nice chill R&B?
proper, yeah, that. And then like the other thing I would probably listen to is like Essential C's new album, Can't Rush Greatness. Absolute bangers. Like it's got like it's quite. There's a lot of it's quite motivational, which is what I like. I like songs when I'm on my own. I like songs with context. I like songs with what I'm saying. So
Yeah.
also having that UK aspect. Something about UK artists with the UK flow is always more high, like always more energy than the North American ones, in my opinion.
Yeah. I mean, you connect to it more too.
Yeah, yeah, and that's I'm trying to be even since I've been in Vancouver. I'm trying to be like the flagship for that. Like I'm trying to promote that UK stuff. Like you know what I'm saying, because a lot of like musicians and DJs they don't play much UK. They play the mainstream UK stuff that everyone knows and that's
Mhm.
viral on TikTok.
Right.
But they don't play the
Right.
stuff that's truly like proper, like in tune with the culture. So for me, like that's the one way I even try to be different as a DJ. I try to bring in that like UK side of things and not sound like everyone else and sound generic, right? So
Branch out. I can
branch out.
agree, man. I can agree. I told you first time I met you it was I was at Cabo chilling, and then I heard you play and I was like, "Who the fuck is this? This is no regular DJ from the city. Hell no." And then that's kind of like how I first came across you, and then over time I've also seen the growth and the development, and it's beautiful to see, man.
Yeah,
Super
I mean,
proud of you for the journey.
it's also it's always people who notice it the most are the people who live here, but they're not from here.
Right.
Always,
Right.
always, every
Right.
single time without fail.
I
Because
mean,
I can always tell, yeah, they're not from here because they'll come up and show me appreciation. You know what I mean? Like,
right,
you
right,
don't get as much
right.
appreciation from like, you know what I mean?
Hey, listen, real recognize real. That's all I'm
Uh,
saying.
for real, serious. Like, bro, like I've had like certain people from Toronto and they come down here in the summer, they'll come down. Oh, yo, like from Toronto, this, that, like music and vibes. I was like, yo, this is nice. I'm not used to this. People are more like,
Very
just,
up close and personal, which
yeah,
is crazy.
yeah.
And I think we're gonna get to the fun part, and it's like we're gonna talk a little bit about trust and vulnerability in relationships. Because I think in your study of psychology, you've probably experienced and understand the importance of trust and vulnerability in any relationship. How do you think these elements play a role in building meaningful connections, both personal and professional?
I feel as though having well, being vulnerable first of all is so important, especially in the modern day and age, especially as a man, as men, we are much less vulnerable when it comes to mental health stuff. I can advocate for that myself. I always like to be more closed off and don't like to actually speak how I feel. I'd rather hold my peace at times. There's been times where I regret doing that because it really affected me mentally, but I wasn't able to be comfortable with myself and my feelings, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it was quite a daunting experience. So I feel like being vulnerable is probably one of the most important things for us in order to move forward. Letting go of that emotional weight and emotional turmoil at times can be so difficult, but it can
Right.
be such a relief when you do that.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that is important. And then just like in terms of being able to build relationships and being able to build trust through being vulnerable, I feel like that connects you to whoever you're trying to build that trust with a lot more, because it just
Right.
shows a side of you that you don't usually show.
Right.
And in
How has that showcased itself in your professional relationships? Do you find that the relationships you form with your peers or like your bosses or people that you work with in the industry, how do you find it that trust and vulnerability is something that helps in building or deteriorating the relationship? Because it can go both ways.
That's a good question. In terms of my circle, even within the industry, it is so small. It
Mm,
is so small. I have just a couple individuals who I feel as though I can trust with everything within the industry, just because there's a lot of like two-facedness, like there's a lot of back chat, and again, like I've never experienced this in any other city that I've lived in, so it's still like it's very hard for me to accept it. But over
right.
time, I've learned to just be able to lean into the people I can trust, and then that's it. So I feel like sometimes when you're vulnerable with the wrong, there's a lot of the times you can be vulnerable with the wrong individuals within the industry, and it can kind of come back on you.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I'm more closed off when it comes to the industry. I actually am like, even just being able to talk about it and having that self realization, I keep it so like mute. So I just keep it my like if I have two or three individuals I can vent to when it comes to anything that I struggle with on the work side of things. Other than that, I keep it shut because yeah, never ends well.
How does that foster collaboration? Because that's the opposite of opening up and opening doors and opening
Well,
opportunities.
let me tell
How
you,
do you that?
you you can have collaboration without emotional connection in the industry, and that's what's important. Sometimes it's good just to keep it on a business level.
Mm,
I collaborate a lot with the people that I'm close with, although
mm-hmm.
even though it's a small circle. But on the bigger scale, I try and be cordial with others, and I do give it a chance. But it's just the fact that over time you start to realize that you can't be so open within an industry like this. In any city, the night industries can be toxic. It has its toxic
Mm,
elements, and anyone who's anyone knows that.
right.
Drake didn't say no friends in the industry for a reason. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
For no reason,
right,
right?
right, right.
Like, when he says 20v1, I can relate to that. 20v1, I
Mm-hmm.
can relate to that. Sometimes when you're different, you have a lot of people just kind of ganging up on you because they don't know what else to do and they see you as a threat. That's what it is. But it's just more about getting over that hump. And obviously, when you ask me about what my word is, I will tell you what the word is and explain that a lot more. You know what I mean?
Are these people that you were once close with and then things went left because of jealousy, competition, whatever it is that comes with the territory? Or are these people who are just intimidated by the skill level that you have? Because we can also be it, or it could be a combination of both. I
Hmm.
don't know. I'm just curious to understand like why it is the way it is.
No, I don't think it's a lot. I don't think of it. I think maybe there's a small element of the skill stuff, but I feel like there's many talented people in the city. I still
Mm,
do. I think it's more about the person. It's the
mm,
person. It's something about being different, being someone who thinks outside the box, being someone
mm,
who has a lot of ideas that haven't been like happened within the city is
right.
what makes people kind of like threatened. Like I feel threatened. That's what I mean, like how we talked about earlier. They're very closed off and just like narrow minded. And not everyone is
Mm,
like that at all. Like there are certain collectives within the city who I show so much love to.
right.
Like shout out Hush Music Party, OGs,
Good
collective full
guys.
of OG DJs who
Mm-hmm.
honestly they gave me one of my first shots within the city, and they've shown me love till this day. They I can go and say what's up. But like a lot of the time, especially being in Vancouver, I've definitely felt a sense of isolation more so than in other places. And you feel it.
Right.
You feel it.
Right.
And that's not only just in music industry. I'm sure that's in many other aspects for many other people. It's a
Right.
Vancouver thing, especially when you're an outsider. The only people who I see who are quite comfortable and more accustomed to not feeling isolated are the ones who are actually from here, born and raised. Do you get what I'm saying? When you're not from here, so at times it can feel quite like the word I would like to use is like lonely, like isolated. Yeah,
How
it
much
can be
of that
difficult.
do you how much of that do you put on the fact that we don't have our families here while they do?
That's such a great question because it's a huge, huge factor. Okay, so whenever I felt isolated, my family were living here before, like they left last September and moved to a different place. But
Mm-hmm.
they were here for 2, 3 years when I came back to Vancouver.
Right.
And man, like whenever I felt down or isolated or like at times, especially with the industry, can be quite difficult. I would literally just drive over 40 minutes, stay with mumsy and dad, you know what I'm saying, for one, two
Get it.
days. I promise you,
Yeah.
after coming out of that 1, 2 days, I come back,
You
new
yeah.
person. What's up? Yo, you know what? Nothing can get me. Mumsy's on my side, nothing can get me. Do you get
Y'all
me?
cannot touch
Like,
this.
you know what I'm saying? Like my heart is full. I don't care. I'll be kind to everyone. I'm just happy. You know what I mean? Like it don't matter because
Right.
just like someone like that, as family in general, that family support system is so important. So important. Especially in a city like this, you need that. And I definitely think it plays a huge, huge factor.
So you definitely saw a shift between when your family was here and when they
Hundred
left.
percent. 100%.
Right.
Because I didn't feel I rarely felt a sense of isolation because anytime, even if that crept up, drive, go see mom,
Boom.
dad,
I'm
straight
good.
away.
Like
Homemade food,
40 minutes
homemade
away.
Arab food, blessed, chilling. You
Hey,
know what I'm
bless.
saying? Love, all love. Oh, you know what I'm saying? What you want for breakfast? What you want? My mom was so much love, you know what I'm saying? I loved it. Like,
Bro,
I
I'm
don't get that no
jealous,
more.
bro. I ain't never experienced that shit
You
out
know what I
here,
mean?
bro. I'm sick to my stomach.
You know what I'm saying? And you know when you're an older sibling and you don't live at the house, yeah, they show you extra love when you come.
Extra
They're like, you
love.
know what I'm saying? They're like,
Yeah.
oh, you know what? You're the one who's gone and branched out on your ones. When you come in, we'll show you love, like all love. You know what I mean? So I miss that. I definitely
But
miss that.
then but then people don't understand the concept of popular loner. You know, people assume that you're a DJ, right? You
People
know a
think
lot
I
of
have
people.
so many friends. They think I have so many
Talk
acquaintances.
to me
It's
talk to me
insane.
about that. Like what are the quality of your relationships being in the industry and beyond? Like when the night ends, who really checks up on you?
Truth be told, no one, man. I don't have like you're only popular. The way I feel is that you're only popular. You're only up when things are lit. You know what I'm saying everything's going. When the lights are off and the time goes to go home. But I'm going on home on my ones. I'm coming home to my dog. My dog is my support system now. I got little mini Dasher. He's my support system. You know what I mean? Like it's just like it's not. No one really checks up. I do have certain people in the industry who do check up on me in the daytime at some point, like even if it's like once every 2 weeks. You know what I mean? Like I do have. I'm so lucky to have that. Like like one of my closest industry friends, like Icy Touch. number one. You know what I'm saying? That's a big bro. Like, he looks out for me more than anyone I know here. He's pure soul, always been the one who checks up on me. Same with my other friend, Mike Deco. I literally just went for coffee with him today. You know what I mean? Like, he's awesome person. Like,
Right.
there are individuals within the industry who actually are caring and empathetic. It's about finding them. It takes time to find them, right?
I was actually going to ask you next, like, how did you formulate this relationships with them?
Well, it's just, you know what it is? It's connection. Like you said, yeah, real recognize real.
Mm-hmm.
The people that are close to me know me for who I am as a
Right.
person.
Right.
The
Right.
people who aren't close to me and who aren't close to me have a different perception of who I am as a person. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, them lot don't actually know who I am as a person. They don't know who I am as a personality, how I treat people, I'm very nice. I'm very empathetic. I've always been a warm soul, right? So
Mm-hmm.
the people I'm close with within the industry, they know what I am as a person, how genuine I can be, and that's why we connect, because they are the same. We think the same. They're genuine. They're empathetic. They have that love. They have that pure soul. I see a pure
Energy.
soul, the pure energy, real energy, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when I see, like I said, like, I pay attention to detail. I'm quite meticulous. I psychoanalyze. I see everything, all these like little behaviors and that. Like, when I see my close ones, I'm just like, you know what, like, that person is genuine. They're actually showing love just for the sake of showing love. They don't do it because they have to, and you feel that.
Right.
So,
Right.
but it's not prominent. It's not prominent within this city, and it's a very small percentage of people who are like this when you move to a city like this from somewhere else, right?
Right.
So it's
Right.
about finding those people. A lot of people don't want to bring you into their circles because they've had that circle for years.
Ooh, that part.
You
That
get me?
part.
Like, they're just all like friends from this, and they don't want to come in and ruin the dynamic of whatever the friends group is. When I tried to come here, I still remember to this day, like, when I first came, I tried to fit in so bad. Tried to fit in so bad
Mm.
because I've always been like, my whole life, I've always moved around everywhere. I've had about 100 first days in school. You know what I mean, I'm very social, very extroverted type of person. But man,
Mm.
like, I tried to fit in so bad, and it did not work for me, which is why I changed my mindset, right?
You just resorted to a different mechanism that
Different mechanisms.
it's basically what the city kind of me and my homies usually say this, like, this city has like a cloud that is invincible, like you feel it but you can't, like, it's there but I can't see it but I feel it. It's like, damn, why is it so dark, bro? Like, there's no need for all that. And also, I think being a DJ, of course, feel free to answer this, but it's not a must. So being a DJ, you get asked, you get, like, you come across different ladies, you in the environment, a lot of people will come up to you. How does that impact your love life, like, in terms of building a genuine connection from, like, the perspective of
You know what? It doesn't.
your
It
line of
doesn't.
work?
It doesn't impact at all. Like, I really separate my personal life from my work life. I really do separate them. So even if I have, I've got a partner and all this. Like, if I got that, yeah, like, I won't see the light of day because I love to just keep things under wraps. I don't like saying anything. I love to keep it on a personal level. So it doesn't affect. The one thing I've realized is the right person will accept you for who you are. So if they met you in that environment, they're gonna accept you and what you do in that
Right,
environment.
right, right.
Um, and I know, like, we have like this common perception of, oh yeah, like, he's a DJ, he knows so many girls, blah blah blah, blah, blah. Yo, but like, it's the same thing as girls getting DM'd on Insta by a bagger man. Like, it's the same thing. Like, you know what I mean, or they get approached by a bagger man.
Speak
Like,
on it.
it's
Speak on it.
it's Vancouver, like, it's a small city, you know what I'm saying, like, do you get me, like, so it's like, it's not, it comes with, this is what it is. I never think the attention that comes within the workplace is actually like, is actually real attention. Do you get me? They're only there giving attention because of what I'm doing, not who I am as a person. Do you get it?
They can it's a transactional
It's
situation.
a, it's a, it's a, oh, you know what, man, that man has the spotlight. Oh, that's attractive because he's in the spotlight. That's the person who's controlling the room in the spotlight. As soon as you're out of that spotlight, do you think they're going to give you the same attention? No, no.
That's discernment right there.
Yeah.
Like, that's the ability to discern. I understand you're only fucking with me right now because I kind of own this room, but
Yes.
outside of these, it's like, I'm
That's
not
why
really gonna give you the time of the day.
I keep it professional. Always keep it professional. You know, like I don't deviate from what I'm doing, and I understand the aspects of how people think and why that happens. Is only that's only temporary. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And you
Have
feel
you have you had a situation where something spewed over from your professional side to your personal life in like a, a romantic sense where it's like
oh, like has anything in my work affected a romantic?
like you're seeing somebody in your personal life, they accept you for who you are, but then
Mhm.
something on your professional side spews over where it's like, oh damn, that's not what it is, it's literally just work.
For me, like I don't really like, I don't know how to explain it. I just don't. I make sure that these two things just they don't
They
connect.
don't.
They don't cross paths. I just make sure it's like, you know what I mean? It's very surface level. Everything at work very surface level, right?
Right.
And then everything personal stays personal. I don't like one thing I realized about Vancouver, do not
Hmm.
let anyone know your business. Don't let anyone know what you're actually doing in your personal life because
In
in
life, I
life,
would say in
yeah,
life.
even yeah,
Yeah.
and that applies to life because as soon as someone sees you happy in your personal life, they try to ruin that, and it's a thing.
100%.
It's a thing. So
Yeah.
that's something I learned. I've learned this from past relationships. I used to have past relationships, publicize, post on story, blah blah blah. Yo, it don't work, man. It just don't work. I would rather keep my mouth shut. I'm under the radar. I'd rather be like that. You know what I mean?
It doesn't necessarily have to be a secret, but it could be private.
Do you get what I'm saying? It doesn't have to
Like
be exactly. It doesn't have to be
it doesn't
secret.
have to be a secret, but it
I
can
can
be
go in
private.
public. I'll be in public. Whatever. Cool. That's fine. Yeah. But it has to be just like private. I don't want the social media generation to get a whiff of what I'm doing in my life because that's when
Right.
social media is the worst. Social media has its benefits and it has its not
Drawbacks as
so yeah,
well.
problems, right?
Yeah.
So that's why I like to separate it. But that's something that I learned over time. I never
Right.
used to be like that, but just like it's just that sense of like understanding and learning from the mistakes of the past to use them in the present and then like to look to the future, right? I always go like that, right? You take those
Hmm.
lessons, you become a better person. That's how it goes.
Yes. Speaking on better lessons, like as you wind down your 20s, what is one of the biggest lessons you've learned along the journey of being in your 20s as a human being?
As a human being.
Hmm.
Well,
I know it's not your birthday yet, but if you were to do a reflection point over the last 9 years of being 20, like in your 20s, what would you pick up from that experience?
okay, well don't get pushed around. Don't get pushed
Mm,
around. Stand your ground. Something that I really struggled with. Like um go through those downs and use them as a way to go up, right? Learn from those mistakes and understand them and then let them go. Like one thing I definitely learned in my 20s as well is that the concept of letting go is so significant in order for you to move on. Without letting go, you can't move on. If you hold on to that negative energy, you're going to stay in that negative mindset. If you let go of that negative energy and have a positive mindset, then the positive things come. Things always come in threes. In my opinion, things always come in threes. You'll have three bad things happen. Right after that, three good things happen. You know what I mean? It's
mm-hmm.
never going to be always bad. If it's bad now, there's no way it can get worse. It's only going to get better. Do you know what I'm It's just that
Right.
mindset, the mindset of being able to um, go through those hardships in order to move forward. And that's something I had to definitely learn in my 20s. You won't have the
See,
same friends that you're gonna have in your early 20s that you have in your late 20s, apart from the real
right,
ones from childhood and all that stuff, right?
right.
And that's normal. Being able to let go of things like that in just everyday life, like some relationships, just the negative stuff, the drama, being able to let go of that stuff is essential in order for you to move forward.
All right. I feel like you've accomplished quite a bit already. What's next? What's next for Yaz? Any big projects or goals that you're excited about?
So next for me, I've got a couple things in the pipeline. Like I said earlier, 222 party is in motion. There's a lot of things in motion for around that to grow the company more because obviously, like I'll touch on it a bit. Like I like when you hold your own events, the respect that you earn from holding your own events is very different than anything as a DJ. is very different.
Mm,
And
mm,
I love that because I like to be able to be the influence to push and change the culture and like influence collaboration.
right.
So there's definitely things in the pipeline for that. I don't like to reveal too much, but there might be like maybe a summer tour, a couple places, but I'm just not gonna reveal any.
Well, that's all you need to say. That's all you need to say.
I'm not gonna reveal any locations or anything like that because I'm still working on it.
Right, right.
And then yeah, like there might be a couple shocks here and there, but I like to keep it under wrap.
Tight on the wraps, on the wraps. We get that. Like, just as a sideshow, like, what does when you say you want to influence change? What does leadership look like to you? Like, what do you think makes a good leader?
I think what makes a good leader is someone who's able to listen to people's constructive criticism and to listen to the patrons' constructive criticism, the people who come to the events, in order to make the next one better, right? And even from other people in the industry, I am the most open book when it comes to anyone who wants to come and give me a suggestion as to how to make it better.
Right,
I'm definitely a fan of being able. It's just I feel as though listening to feedback of what you do will only influence you to do better in the next thing. So to be a leader, you have to be humble in that sense. I feel as though being able to drop the ego and actually take time to understand the ways in which you can improve something you're working on, like a project, can just open the possibilities a lot more than you think. So I feel as though that is important. And you know, as I said, like I have got the word in mind to describe this, but
and now and that's hey, you trying to run the episode, my boy.
hey, listen.
If we're to cap it off, like understanding your journey, I feel like there's so much that I still need to tap in with you, bro. Like your experience in Spain, your best friend in England. Are you guys still in contact? I'm pretty sure you are. Like what? How is the relationship dynamic when you're living in England, when you're living in Spain, when you're living in Vancouver? There's so much that I still want to tap into, but that's why we want to invite you back. Like
Alright.
after you do the tours and after you've kind of like done everything, we want to have you back to see the progress and the growth. But for today, if you're to look back at your life and your journey and also just this episode, it all boils down to what?
I've been holding down on this word this whole show, yeah. I think it all boils down to adversity
Adversity. Why?
because in this industry, in what I do, in everything that I try to strive for, adversity is everything. Going through the motions of the negative, going through the motions of the positive, taking all those and moving forward. I feel like if you can't go through the adversity, then this type of career and industry is not for the faint-hearted because anyone who wants to progress within this industry has to go through the adversity. Not
Right.
everyone's gonna like you. I learned not everyone's gonna like you. Not everyone's gonna fuck with you. Not everyone's gonna wanna, work with you. But it's about going through that adversity in order to reach the goal that you want to reach. And I advocate for that because of the amount of adversity that I've had to go through within the last 10 years throughout this career that I started, to get to the point where I am now. I worked so hard. I've been kicked down 4 or 5 times, but you know what? Those moments, those low moments are part of adversity. Those are what you look back on and be like, you know what? I went through so much adversity to get to the position I'm in and I'm grateful. And that's
Right.
that's that's why I choose adversity because that is everything in this industry. In my opinion, that is everything without a shadow of a
Bro,
doubt.
beautifully said, man. Like I think adversity breeds character. Like you
100%.
cannot be the person that you are without going through the lows of the lows because that's when you truly understand like what's my mental made of.
Mm-hmm.
Like everything we do starts from here.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Mm-hmm.
every single thing that we do in this life, and I'm super glad that you've taken all those lows and highs and made it a complete package of an experience to what Yaz is today and
Mm-hmm.
moving forward,
Mm-hmm.
because it's always gonna go up and it's gonna come down. It's gonna go up and it's gonna come down, and you have to be able to understand that when when you're in a season of a low season, don't get caught up and feel kind of like defeated, because that's just you're kind of caving into the mentality that when you go low you can't go back up. Yes,
Mm-hmm.
you can.
Mm-hmm.
Put your chin up. Let's
Mm-hmm.
get it.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Mm-hmm. let's move forward, man.
This shit, you got a 1 foot out on top of the other and keep it pushing, bro. So
No, exactly, and that's what it's all about. It's just about being able to push through those negative barriers, because best believe if you can push through those negative things that happen, what's on the other side is going to be 10 times worth what you had to go through to get there. You know what I'm saying?
right. Yes, sir.
Yes.
Where DJ Yaz, where can people find you on the socials? Where can people find the avenues on the socials?
Oh yeah. So everything you can find for me is on my Instagram, at DJ Yaz Official. I've got a link in my bio that leads to a bunch of avenues, such as my mixes, some of my content, all kinds of different ways in which you can reach me. And then I also post where I am throughout the week. You know, my schedule is always posted throughout the week as to where you can catch me. I'm quite responsive, so if anyone wants to chat and needs support, you know what I mean, reach out. Feel free to reach out. I've
Yeah,
gone through it, like I understand it, and that's just not even on an industry level. That's just on a human level. Like it's
on a
cool.
human level.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, you heard it first, man. The boy's about to get his master's degree, so tap in. Tap the fuck in. And he's always outside in the city too, bro. Yaz, I appreciate you, bro. Thanks for doing this. I personally enjoyed getting to know your story. Super inspired, super excited, and I just wish that, you know, we can tap in more. And also, as you progress on your journey, bro, I wish you the best. I'll be there to cheer you on. Change the culture, bro. Change the
Change the
culture,
culture.
not just for me, not just for you, but for everybody around you, because it all starts with it's a one drop rule. Like it's only, you know, it just goes one drop at a time, and before you know it, you got an ocean of people who are thinking the same way. So I appreciate you, bro. Thanks big time for doing this, and yeah, we'll see you on the other side when things are safe.
Yeah, no worries, my guy. Love, all love.
Peace out.
Peace out. Peace out.